Greetings and welcome to INFODOME. Mary Tudor was the first Queen Regent of England, reigning from 1553 until her death in 1558. She is best known for her religious persecutions of Protestants and the execution of over 300 subjects. So let's learn more about Bloody Mary. Born on February the 18th, 1516, at the Palace of Palentia in Greenwich, England, Mary Tudor was the only child of King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon to survive into adulthood. She was baptised as a Catholic shortly after her birth. Tutored by her mother and scholars, she excelled in music and language. Frustrated by the lack of a male heir, in 1533, Henry declared his marriage to Catherine null, claiming that because he had married his deceased brother's wife, the marriage was incestuous. He broke relations with the Catholic Church, established the Church of England, and married one of Catherine's maids of honour, Anne Boleyn. After Boleyn gave birth to Elizabeth, she feared Mary would pose a challenge to the succession to the throne, and successfully pressed for an Act of Parliament to declare Mary illegitimate. This placed the princess outside the succession to the throne and forced her to be the lady-in-waiting to her half-sister Elizabeth. After her brother Edward's death, Mary took the throne as the first Queen Regent and reinstated her parents' marriage. She was the first queen to rule England in her own right, rather than a queen through marriage to a king. At first, she acknowledged the religious dualism of her country, but she desperately wanted to convert England back to Catholicism. Mary was 37 at the time of her accession. She knew that if she remained childless, the throne would pass to her Protestant half-sister Elizabeth. She needed a Catholic heir to avoid the reversal of her reforms. To accomplish this goal, she arranged to marry Philip II of Spain. The public response to Mary's marriage was extremely unpopular, but she pressed on repealing many of Henry VIII's religious edicts and replacing them with her own, which included a strict heresy law. The enforcement of this law resulted in the burning of over 300 Protestants as heretics. Mary's religious persecutions made her extremely unpopular and earned her the nickname Bloody Mary. This is an unfair name for the rather zealous queen. Her father Henry executed somewhere between 57,000 and 72,000 people during his reign, and of course ordered the execution of not one, but two of his very own wives. So a mere 300 executions. Mary's title is a little unfair. After she already persecuted so many Protestants, Mary's marriage to Philip of Spain stoked fears that England would be put under the rule of a very much Catholic Holy Roman Empire. Of course, Mary wanted a Catholic England, but she also wanted to maintain her grip on power. So she drafted up the Queen Mary's Marriage Act and put it through Parliament. It stated that although Philip would be given the title King of England, he still always had to act with the consent of Queen Mary. The two shared co-authority, but the terms were pretty clear. This was Mary's house. Mary imprisoned her half-sister Elizabeth at the Tower of London in 1554, suspecting her of involvement in Wyatt's plot against her. Elizabeth was later released into the house arrest in the country. Historians have focused on the negative aspect of Mary's 5-year reign, branding her a religious bigot and military figure, but in recent years, Mary has largely been reappraised. Decisions over the details of the practice and power of a Queen Regent became precedents for the future. In April 1554, Mary's Parliament passed the Act for Regal Power, which enshrined in law that queens held power as fully, wholly and absolutely as their male predecessors, thereby establishing the gender-free authority of the crown. Mary also restructured the economy and reorganised the militia, rebuilt the navy, and successfully managed her parliament. By securing the throne, Mary ensured that the crown continued along the legal line of Tudor succession. Although Mary was eventually convinced by Philip to allow Elizabeth to be heir to the throne, things almost went a different path. Mary's resentment of and competition with Elizabeth caused her to imprison her half-sister, and Mary even considered executing her, family member or not. Childless and grief-stricken, by 1558, Mary had endured several false pregnancies and was suffering from what may have been uterine or ovarian cancer. She died at St James's Palace in London on November the 17th, 1558, and was buried at Westminster Abbey. Her half-sister Elizabeth succeeded her to the throne as Elizabeth I in 1559. Mary might have been overshadowed by her successor Elizabeth, but one story of hers took on a life of its own. Mary's false pregnancy spurred rumours of a century later that the child of James II and Mary of Modena was actually an imposter child smuggled in to convince the people of a new heir to the throne of England. Thank you for watching this episode, bringing you facts about the British monarchy. If you like this video, please subscribe and take a look at our other videos for more of the same, or something a little different. And as always, until next time.